Alright, so, spoilers because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and every M. Night Shyamalan movie has to have a twist ending. So, and I want to quickly I want to go through all the other movies, Unbreakable and Split. So, alright, so first Unbreakable. So, Unbreakable has to be it is one of my favorite movies, also maybe even superhero, and maybe even Disney, because if you didn't know, M. Night Shyamalan's first movies, like The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, and The Village were all produced and distributed by the Disney company. Because if you didn't know, the studio Touchstone is actually a studio in Disney. And so they made like dark movies and mostly PG, because it wasn't unlikely for Disney to make PG movies, even though they now do make PG movies today. But so yeah, Unbreakable I really love. It's the story. It takes the superhero origin story in this new way of how it would be in the real world. That's what Unbreakable kind of does, and I like how when we go back into David Dunn's past, the times he has been in like accidents, like that time, like the car accident when he was in college, or I like how he said how it shows that he's never been sick before. I like that. It's kind of like I would say it's kind of like if Alfred Hitchcock actually made a superhero movie, and I think this is what he'd make out of it. It wouldn't be an action movie. This is what he would make, this like drama about the idea and how if superheroes lived in the real world, it'd be kind of like this. And so yeah, Unbreakable. I think it might be my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. So and I'd recommend it. It's a really good movie. So the next, Split, on the other hand, I don't think it's not good as Unbreakable to me. It's a good movie, but it's just not really it's not technically it's definitely not a superhero movie. But like I never really found it to be that much of an Unbreakable 2. Cause it has there is no sign, like they don't even talk about there's no what I'm trying to say is they talk about nothing about Unbreakable. There is no, they don't talk about about David Dunn and his vigilante stuff. They don't explain it. It only happens at the end when a woman references about Mr. Glass on how he was taken in like 15 years ago, and then he says and Bruce Willis just says Mr. Glass. So yeah, but as a movie, it is actually an interesting way of a horror movie, because I hear actually Kevin Crumb's disorder is actually a real thing. I looked it up, but mostly they don't. The thing is that they don't, people with this disorder do not turn into a beast. They just still turn into different personalities. That's what they usually just turn into. So yeah, and so Split was a bigger success than Unbreakable. Mostly because I think no one really liked Unbreakable because they didn't know it was going to be a superhero movie. They thought it was going to be some psychological thriller. And so now we're at Glass. So no one really likes Glass for some reason. I don't really know. I saw it yesterday, and it was actually pretty good. As a sequel to Unbreakable, I like how they actually they follow it up, Unbreakable, and how David Dunn, he's been successful. He this time if you recall, in Unbreakable, he was offered a security job in New York, And now in this movie, he has like a Homeland Security store, and his son Joseph owns, and so they do follow up with. Well, I think it does take place right after Split because I think it is they stay at the same place that the horror stayed at in Split, and so it is that they're both good follow-ups to Unbreakable and Split. The beginning is really good. Also, if you do remember in Split that M. Night Shyamalan's character was in it, I think he was like a security guard. He was at the Dr. Fletcher, Kevin's psychologist, and they lived at the he was a security guard at her hospital. I mean, at her apartment, and so and the security guard was played by M. Night Shyamalan, and he's in the Homeland Security store that he goes to, and then it kind of shows that he's the same guy that was also in Unbreakable. He was the same guy that, if you remember in the first Unbreakable, he was the guy that Bruce Willis thought had drugs on him. And so I think that was actually a great idea, and I like how they got most of the cast back from the first Unbreakable. They got Joseph and Elijah's mom. I think I hear it's the same actor, but I think the problem with it is that people do not like the ending. So we'll get to the spoilers. I just want to get back to the part I didn't like. So what I didn't like is mostly the middle. I just didn't like because I thought the middle it mostly slowed down. It was just mostly I thought it was just like the scene, like I think if you saw the scene in the trailer where David Dunn and Kevin Crumb and Elijah and Mr. Glass are sitting in a both three are sitting down in a pink, like purplish room, and Dr. Staple is talking to them. It's actually a really boring scene, and also I think they do show the thing, if you remember Unbreakable, that that David Dunn was drowned in the pool, like when he was a kid, by a few kids, and he almost died, and while he's afraid of water. And they show it, which I didn't like, because in the first movie, I like how they didn't kind of show it. I mean, they did show the car crash, but I think they did that because it showed that he didn't get hurt there. But but in Unbreakable, he didn't get. The idea was that his weakness is his water is his weakness. Nothing else could hurt him. So I think the ending. Is that there's a twist. So spoiler alert right here. So I'd rather click off if you haven't seen it. So the twist is that so Kevin Crumb never saw his dad, and he was abused by his mom, and also they also do say Casey from the last movie that and that his uncle abused her, and that the uncle's now in jail too. And then they also did, and there was also this one subplot that Joseph went to the same school, and so the other part. There was that subplot, but here is they did say Kevin's dad left on a train. But then it turned out that he died. It was the same train that David Dunn was on Unbreakable, and so he died. And then at the end of Unbreakable, it turned out that Mr. Glass derailed the train and killed everyone except for David. And now and so then they So yeah, that's when they start. So yeah, that's the twist, and so here's the next twist, which I think it just did they didn't do it well. So the Bee after it's get revealed, the Beast like breaks, kills Mr. Glass. Mr. Glass then he officially dies from I think because of his bones again, and then David Dunn gets drowned in water by like I think these guys, which I think I'll get to because I read into about. Yeah, he gets drowned, and then the Beast gets shot. Kevin gets shot, and they all die. And then, yeah, I didn't like it. It should have been. They didn't really have to. I wish maybe it would have been maybe just kill off Elijah. Elijah, they could have killed Mr. Glass instead of like Kevin. Maybe you could kill them off. Maybe but then like but David Dunn comes back to life, and then yeah, I think they could have done it way better, but they didn't. Also, I wanted to say they do the same. This is also like a problem I do have because this is a thing that happens in movies. They usually they have so much subplots in a movie, and like then they usually do this just so they can set up a sequel. This something like this does. There's so much stuff going on in Glass, but it sucks. But like you don't really care for it that there's so much stuff because you want to know what's happening every scene actually, and I like that. So yeah, is Glass bad? No, it's not. I thought it was actually really good, and so I think right now it seems like it's very mixed. I would say some people hate it, and some people were just kind of a little disappointed. And does this mean like M. Night Shyamalan is bad? Well, yeah. You know what? I think M. Night Shyamalan is hit or miss. Sometimes he makes like really good. Sometimes he can make good movies like Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, and Split. And other times he makes really bad movies like Lady in the Water, The Happening, and After Earth. Because I think After Earth is way stupid than The Last Airbender. I think everyone forgot that he directed that movie. So yeah, there's my review, and thank you for watching it, I hope, and I will see you next time. Bye.